parent who, or a loved one of somebody who is struggling right now and you're getting a bit fed up with them?
Look, it's really hard when you care about someone and their drinking's a little bit out of control. You can detox at home to a certain degree. You shouldn't stop completely. One of the ways you can do it is a gradual decrease, and I mean gradual. So the first thing to do is really count your drinks. What are you drinking? And then you want to make very small incremental changes on the way down. But this takes an awful lot of effort and support to do that. And you ideally, so perhaps if you're drinking spirits, you would want to then reduce down to lower strength alcohol as well over time. So then you're kind of reducing the alcoholic load on your body, both in a neurological way for your liver, for your kidneys and everything else. So just taking your time, you can do it.
Yeah.
It would be advisable to let your GP know that this is the strategy that you're taking, so they might be able to provide you with medication and support. Because I know there is a waiting list for detoxes and,
Oh
and different
God,
things
yeah.
like that. And there are private detoxes as well, but you might not have the money for that. So it is possible to decrease right down to zero, but it takes a lot of time to do that. And again, really recommend having a conversation with your GP about it, so that you feel supported through that journey. Dealing with other people's drinking, I think for me, when you go to therapy for anything else other than alcohol, maybe you're struggling with a bereavement or something, and you go and talk to a therapist. The therapist always says to you, you can only change yourself and your reaction to people, that you can't change others and so on. And the same is true for alcohol. The onus on change is them. And the first thing I always say to people who are suffering with someone they care about is to try and look inward and make sure you're looking after your own personal well-being as the person who cares about the well-being of the person maybe who's drinking a little bit too much or
Yeah.
experiencing those problems. That's got to be your first and only priority.
Who can't stop using or drinking or doing what they're doing, are they a bad person, or why can't they stop, basically?
So they may be a bad person, they may be a wonderful person, and addiction doesn't choose between bad people and good people. It just is. And why they can't stop is where they tag the drug in their brain.
Tag.
Be. And if you're listening to music on an amplifier and the bass is wrong, the treble's wrong, the balance is out of set, it sounds wrong. So that person feels wrong. Yeah. And sometimes it will turn it up too high, and then it will readjust it by turning it down again. And if you're very young, it doesn't take that long, and if you're at my age, it can take a long time, depending how long you've been using, how much and what. The brain resetting itself. So the first couple of years of recovery is incredibly difficult.
It's crucial.
People. Yeah. And it's incredibly difficult for people, and they need a lot of help and mentoring.
Yeah.
And patience and tolerance. And being patient with addicts is big.
That's the whole reason for this particular episode, is just saying no doesn't work on addicts. It doesn't. And the neural pathways and relighting the frontal lobe is fascinating, because I think all of the stuff that we have to do to relight that frontal lobe is effort, and it's not instant gratification. So addicts, we like our instant gratification. Yeah. We're used to it. Yeah. And so, I remember we were so angry because we just couldn't get there.
Yeah.
And meaning is right. And I've seen some of your artwork, Will, and it is very good, actually. You should go check them out. Here's the link right here. A good first aid for somebody, someone's looking after an addict who's got, 24 hours, and they are about to press the fuck it button. What would you like? What would you say?
Breathe.
Because you do forget to breathe.
Breathe. So people kept saying to me, you don't know how to breathe. And I was like, well, I'm alive. What's your problem? You know, what are you talking about? But there's something that if you breathe fast, short into your chest, you will produce lots of neuroadrenaline, which is the fight for their children. If you're on an aeroplane, who do you put the oxygen mask on first?
You.
So if you're dead, you can't look after your children. Hence, an addict will put the drugs, the substances before their children, because if they're dead, they can't look after them. And then society looks at this and they go, these are bad people.
Really intoxicated about what they want, trying to give them a bit of space and create some space for yourself. I know depending on the size of place that you live, it's not always possible. Maybe sometimes go outside, go for a walk if you need to. And really set boundaries that are really about you and what you're doing instead of setting boundaries that require somebody else to do something.
Experience, what could society do better?
It's a tough one. Well, okay, here's what I think. If there was a little bit more understanding about what addiction actually is and spotting it earlier, then interventions could be made before it becomes a whole society issue.
Don't stop talking about it. If there's a match on and somebody wants you to do something else, you're trying to go into a panic because you want to see the match more than anything else. At what point does it stop being fanatical and becomes an addiction, or are they not related?
See, that's the thing. I think they are on the same line. They're parallel with each other. But I think football matches, fanatical behavior, that's probably not going to ruin your life as quickly as going into a blackout and doing God knows what. But there are loads of behavioral addictions. There's sex addiction, there's gaming addiction, there's gambling addiction.
How can you tell if you're a sex addict or just a man?
Is it...
Because
his words, not mine, guys.
yes, yeah, I know. The PC version of that.
Really intoxicated about what they want, trying to give them a bit of space and create some space for yourself. I know depending on the size of place that you live, it's not always possible. Maybe sometimes go outside, go for a walk if you need to. And really set boundaries that are really about you and what you're doing instead of setting boundaries that require somebody else to do something. Really intoxicated about what they want, trying to give them a bit of space and create some space for yourself. I know depending on the size of place that you live, it's not always possible. Maybe sometimes go outside, go for a walk if you need to. And really set boundaries that are really about you and what you're doing instead of setting boundaries that require somebody else to do something.